We have with us today one of our Lifetime Award recipients, Bob Gurr. He's one of the technical gurus of this industry. So please welcome Bob Gurr, who's going to introduce our Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Mr. Gurr.
Good morning, TEA. Is everybody up? Everybody having a good time here? That's more like it. Welcome to the Pat and Roberta Show. This thing runs on time. This timer right here, there's an AK-47 right behind that machine. So don't you dare run over any of your time. Now, this organization's been around 20 years. I've been in it for 15 years of that. So I've been watch this place grow. I get to look out here. I have never seen so much talent in my life. Look at all this. Congratulate yourselves, everybody. I am just blown away by all the work that you do. When I won this award years ago, Roberta came up to me and she says, "Oh, there's a catch. You will be on the awards committee for life. You can't get off unless you die." This is going to go on to age 100, I think. But anyway, of all the people I've met and all the shows I've seen, there's one guy that really stood out. He gave me a call a long time ago, and he says, "I'm Garner Holt." "Garner who?" "And I'm from Fontana." "Fontana? Oh, my God. Who wants to live in Fontana?" So the guy says, "I need a little bit of help. I do small animations, but I just signed up for a job, 40 feet tall. I think it needs engineering." Well, yeah, I went out and I talked to the guy, and I had this little tiny shop, and they do stuff, and we agreed right away. They said, "Well, if it falls off the table and breaks your foot, you don't need an engineer. But if it's 40 foot tall and you build it out in the parking lot and it falls over and you kill your staff, well, you probably need engineering." So we agreed to do some work together. And I said, "Well, I'm not a licensed engineer. I have no engineering training whatsoever. But it didn't stop me from doing $175 million worth of work, and nobody ever asked for my credentials." True story, yeah. So anyway, he had this big, beautiful fountain, an animated fountain that went over to Korea. And then at the end of the job, he says, "Oh, we need civil engineering. Great big foundation, big concrete, big bolts and everything." And he said, "Well, we don't have any money for that." "Okay, well, I'll just do it, and I'll just, Koreans will never notice, All we got to do is certify that it won't blow over in 100-mile-an-hour winds." So I made all these bolts really big and did all the stress analysis, and I thought, you don't have to be an engineer to do stress analysis, because you can do that and be an artist at the same time. Anyway, as the years went by, Garner did more and more and more interesting stuff, and I just was blown away by how he would collect people. I mean, just the sharpest guys. A lot of people in the shop, and over the years wound up with a big factory. In fact, I told him, I says, "Don't move out of the little shop. Everybody I ever knew that worked at Disney and went off and formed their own company, count to 5, and they'll be bankrupt just like that. You expand too fast." He didn't expand fast enough in a way, because he, excuse the pun, garnered more work around the world, and so I love to go out to his plant and see everything they're doing, the quality they're doing. Then over the years, I've been a witness to a very interesting thing. Walt Disney, here he is, hired me in 1954. So I've been around this entertainment industry for a pretty long time. And watching everything that was going on, I was in the first wave of animation, learning how to do physical 3D animation. Some of it was very, very crude. We got it up to within a few years. I designed the Abraham Lincoln animated figure. We had Show Control came along, developed a lot of stuff. Over the years, by the time we got up into the 70s, we had Mapo, we had Pelican Alley, the guys doing physical animation of all kinds. Then somehow their financial transitions took place as companies mature, and there was sort of less and less being done at WDI. If I offend any WDI people out there, please excuse me. I'm only telling the history of the way it actually happened. Eventually, all of this stuff wound up in a place called Tahunga, which is up near the airport. And then a couple of years ago, Garner called me aside and says, "Well, guess what? I think I'm going to inherit all of Disney's Maple development of animated figures, and by golly, that did happen. So today, when you look at any Disney park anywhere, Disney doesn't build hardly any of that anymore. It's all done in East Fontana, San Bernardino, where he has this gigantic factory. So I am just thrilled to death to know this guy, from the time he was a little kid out there in Fontana, to reach the stage of life where he's now going to join us on the awards committee for life. You can't get off of this thing. And I want you to welcome the new Buzz Prize recipient, Lifetime Achievement Award, Garner Holt.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bob. Bob is a very generous man. Bob, as he said, I gave him a call many years ago, and he was generous enough to come out and help a young'un who was starting out and really didn't know what he was doing at the time. Not sure I still do, but well, I want to say that this is a great honor to be here and speak with all of you today, to have received this award. It's just an unbelievable thing, and to look at the list of people that precede me in this award, I'm not sure that my name really fits on that list, but I'm grateful and honored to be included with some of these great legends. Garner Holt Productions, I was asked to come and tell you a little bit about Garner Holt Productions and where it came from. I started the company back in 1976 when I was 16. And I will start out here with some slides. This is kind of a history. I've never had the opportunity to work anywhere else other than my company, other than one small stint at Norton's Pet Shop in San Bernardino as the fish attendant. That didn't really have a lot to do with themed entertainment, but as the GHP started moving forward, this is kind of a story, a very quick story, and they wanted me to tell you a little bit about my history, but this is how I got from my parents' garage basically to the Magic Kingdom. We currently do a lot of animatronics for parks worldwide. We've worked in 31 different countries. This is something we just recently did for Knott's out at the log ride. We, since 1977 when the company was incorporated, we've done nearly 5,000 animatronic figures, been around for about 37 years, worked in 31 different countries and 6 continents. We've created, things like the Chuck E. Cheese shows and that, nearly 500 shows worldwide. We were the first company to build a animatronic figure for a classic Disney attraction that wasn't built by Disney internally. And out of the nearly 5,000 figures, we have over 400 in the Disney parks. Disney doesn't not build them anymore internally, but we're obviously they still produce some things internally, but we're just honored to have any participation in anything that they do, that they require our services. We do work for all kinds of other parks and things, and when Disney needs us, we're sure glad to be there. Before all of that, how did it start? Well, it really started with my first trip to Disneyland, I guess, and that's my little matching hat there with my dad, and it's interesting that there's Bob Gurr's monorail right behind us. But that was the very beginning. My dad was a racehorse trainer, and he wanted me to be a veterinarian when I grew up, but they made the serious mistake of taking me to this place called Disneyland when I was about 14, and my parents bought me this record at the Kmart in town, and I learned about the Haunted Mansion, and I used to build little rides in the backyard and things, and when I didn't have friends to put in the boats, I put my goats and things like that in the boats and made them ride through. But My first drawing of a haunted house was this was my first attraction, which was my haunted house in the backyard. And you notice the ticket price is only 10 cents back in those days. You know, it's increased considerably nowadays. But after the success of my backyard haunted house, a local mall asked me to build one for them, and I was able to secure a burned-out construction trailer from a neighbor for $200, and I built my Garner Holt's Haunted House of Mystery. And we moved that into, worked on it all year, and had a budget of a whopping budget of $1,000 for the entire production, and moved it into the Central City Mall in San Bernardino, and it was a very successful run. You can see, I think on the next slide here, this you can see the incredible queue that I had there at the mall, and I was still young enough. I was 15 when I did this, so I couldn't even drive to work. My parents had to drive me to work at my first job at the mall there. This was some artwork done by a neighbor, and as the haunted houses developed and went into the Orange County area, we had some, when I say me, my friends and I had some more elaborate scenes like this organist that would spin around and fly across the room. My intent was always to build animatronics and put those in my haunted houses. I always loved the animatronics, so this was my first animated character. I built it using pieces of fence posts that I cut off of my dad's fences around the yard, and welded them together with a welder he had in the back, and I collected up some surplus air cylinders and door hinges, and I made my first figure, which was made for 1976 bicentennial, and I wanted it to be an Uncle Sam figure. This is a part of the garage and my working with some electronic surplus to try to make my Uncle Sam head function, and this was the building of the Uncle Sam at the time. The Uncle Sam was very successful. He also debuted in the mall. I think I used the mall as my big debut for everything, and that was my Disneyland, was this mall. So this was I had some publicity throughout regarding the kids magazines for schools and things like that. And there's the Meet the Robot I built. This was in National Geographic World. It's amazing how well preserved I am. I look almost exactly like those photos when I was, so we went on to do mall haunted houses and things. I went through the 80s. I was really the only employee of my company throughout the entire decade of the 80s. I had some friends and people that helped, but I kind of struggled along and did my thing, and had to learn all the different trades, the electronics and the sculpting and the costumes and so forth. Decided one day to build an animated head after I had a tour of Imagineering, and I had asked for a tour, and I actually sent a tape of my Uncle Sam to Imagineering just blindly at a friend's request, and they suggested I send something. I never thought I'd hear anything, and I sent this tape of Uncle Sam. And about a week and a half later, a gentleman by the name of Wathel Rogers called and said, wow, you have a animated figure there. We'd like to come out and see it. And he was obviously one of the legends of animatronics with Bob Gurr and others that created the original Lincolns. So they came out to the house and saw the Uncle Sam, and that kind of started. This is in my garage workshop there still. And I had to do many different things to stay alive and function, and so I kind of went into some novelty products and things, and I did some birds and all kinds of crazy things. I did some scary chopped off hands that I think that's my collection. I sold them all over the world. This was back in the days when nobody else did this kind of thing. I think actually scarier than the hands themselves is actually the bad perm that I had that a girlfriend talked me into, but actually I sold those all over the place, and just kept the lights turned on in the business, and so I knew that I needed to build some form of a figure after Uncle Sam that would attract attention, because everybody had a singing bear or a guitar playing character. So I spent about a year developing a character called Wendell, the unicyclist, and he rides a unicycle with no visible means of support. And he has a machine underneath him that keeps him up and makes him run. So I started to take that around and took that to the president. Actually worked my way into seeing the president of MGM Grand, who is building a theme park in Vegas. And using that, I was able to convince him that I could build all the characters for the largest attraction they had there. I took this publicity photo that I used to take around, and I noticed in all the WDI and WED photos that this was in my first little building that I had in town. And I noticed in all their publicity photos, they always had computers and things, and it always looked very impressive, and they had big computers running things. Well, I wanted to have a picture like that too, so I bought those two big cabinets at the swap meet, and I think they were phone company cabinets, and I thought, well, I'll just stick those in my picture here, and it'll look like I use giant computers to run my animatronics. And so it worked really well for a publicity photo, They're actually empty. So I was able to convince them that I could do the animatronics for this attraction, and this whole scene right here I put together with my staff, which I had a staff of about 5 at the time, and we did a lot of the major elements for this. This is a big pumping machine and so forth, and some of the animated characters, gunfighters, and the guy coming that had a flooded town, and a lot of different animal characters and things. So we had some really nice animation there, and special effects, burn down fuses, and so forth. So we started to get work from Vegas area because of the success of that, and we started to continue to develop the company. The garage went to a different size garage. They started in a smaller facility. This is my first building outside the garage, and that's how it looks today. We've advanced to about 60,000 square feet of production space, and that was thanks to a contract with, somewhere along the way, we got the attention of Chuck E. Cheese, which, as they say, ended up nearly 500 restaurant productions that we did. And at that point, somewhere along the way, in the early 90s, we got involved with showing Disney and Knott's and some of the larger theme parks what we could do. And this monkey that you see here, not the man character there, but the monkey was part of something we recently did for Hong Kong, which is Mystic Manor, and some of our latest work out at that park. Did a lot of the animation there. And these are a lot of props and things that we do, like the giant organ piece. These are some of the animated pieces there. If any of you have not seen the show in Hong Kong, it's just a beautiful attraction, one of the most technologically advanced attractions I think yet. This is Albert the monkey. We were very proud and honored to have Disney ask us to participate in building these figures. The atrium scene where the little monkey's poking the baby plant there, and the Monkey King, which is one of the pieces of the finale. More in Albert. Now, a lot of the parks that we do, we just recently completed about 80 figures for the log ride at Knott's Berry Farm. And they asked us to do the mine ride, which we're doing currently. There's another 85 or so characters that we're putting in that, and we're going to open that this June. It's one of the donkey animatronic figures there. We have a whole slew of figures that and all kinds of different vignettes and scenes that our creative department created. We have a hootenanny, and actually the fellow there on the right is a log roller who's running on a log in kind of a log rolling contest scene. So we like to do unique and unusual things and create unique and unusual animatronics when possible. Trying to keep within the intent of the original attraction, which Bud Hurlbut created back in the 60s. It's kind of fun. I remember riding that ride with my parents back when I was a child, and I thought it was a real logging operation. And time kind of comes all the way around in a circle. And So this was some of the work that we were involved with mermaids, some very complex little characters. We were great honor to participate in that attraction, which was both out here in California and also in Florida. Number of the characters that we did there, Eric and Ariel. And one of the most exciting things that we've done here recently that we've been participating in with Disney was the Cars attraction, which we did 12 of the cars in the Cars ride, which were very high-tech, amazing characters that is obviously in one of the most amazing attractions I think that's ever been built. These are some of the characters that we were involved in producing. Lizzie and McQueen and Sally and Doc. We didn't do the Mater character. We worked on the McQueen there. And this is actually a project. This is actually an interesting, timely situation. We have this fairly large project we put in the Ukraine. This is in a chocolate factory in the Ukraine, and I just understand that the president of this company might end up being the president of a big piece of that situation going on over there. So we're glad to have provided this and had a great time putting a lot of these things in. This is an actual little band of characters that is about, each one of these characters is about 3 feet tall. They're fully animated and actually play this little orchestra and sing and entertain people as they come into the chocolate factory. We were fortunate to work on Madagascar, the attraction in Singapore. And this was a universal attraction, and it was a Madagascar ride, about 85 characters in that attraction. We're known for staying on character. We have a lot of companies, the DreamWorks and Pixar's and Disney's and so forth come to us. It's very important to them with their IPs to stay on character and make sure that the 3D characters that we build look exactly like the characters in the films. We're currently working on some things like Thomas the Tank Engine, and we're working on Snoopy and Linus and all those Peanuts characters. And so we continue to do things that have to be very accurate to the characters that are portrayed in the cartoons and the films. There's the famous Chuck E. Cheese. This was our bread and butter for many, many years. It still continues to be a very valuable part of our company. At some point, I will be able to operate a control that triggers a chip in them where we can literally take over the world by having them break out of the Chuck E. Cheese restaurants and walk throughout the cities of California. So this was the Jack Skellington that kind of broke the ground with working with the Disney parks. We did this for the Haunted Mansion Holiday, and Sally was for the show that we did in Japan. And Oogie Boogie and his Wheel of Tricks. And then we have Maleficent, the fire-breathing dragon, and that is a 40-foot flame shooting from her throat there. She collapses and falls into a pit with an elevator, and she's still there performing. We don't do just all animatronics. We do a lot of sets and scenery and props and things. This is a 24-foot globe that we built for Tokyo Disney Sea and a restaurant out there. So we do a lot of props, and this is a rotating globe, things that have to be highly engineered. This was an interesting project we did for Disney, and all of you who are in the production part of this thing will understand and appreciate this. They originally came to us with this job. They wanted a replica of Space Mountain with a car inside, and somebody would, each day a guest from the park would stick a key in, and one guest from the park that day would win a car, and the side of the mountain would open up, and it would have smoke, and the car would slide out. And we talked about it and talked about it and talked about it until we totally ran out of time. And then they came to us and said, well, we really do want to do this, but the problem is we have 19 days to do it from the very beginning to end. We have 19 days to produce this. And I asked my employees if they would mind sleeping in the shop if we set up cots and working 24 hours a day. And we produced this whole thing in 19 days from scratch. And at the end of it, you could stick a key in there and the car would roll out and smoke and everything else. So we were kind of surprised that ourselves that it turned out so well. But so we do really strange things like that. They're honoring the Tiki Room this year, and we're fortunate to have replaced a lot of the characters that were the original characters in the Tiki Room. So we've done a lot of birds and things. We actually step out sometimes from the theme park industry and get into other areas. These are Afghan rebels that are in an Afghan village that is part of a large complex where they train soldiers that are going over to overseas. And some of the young kids that come in that are 18 or 19 years old that never experienced anything like that, they use role players and animatronics to threaten them and pull knives on them and guns, and they throw grenades and they blow them up and do all kinds of things that they can find out what it's like to experience some of these things here, which is better to do it here in a controlled environment than find out for the first time when you're over there. So it's not a classified thing. It's the simulator projects are well known, but we're on another phase of production with them that we're using these to train our troops, and these interact with the troops and can talk with the troops, and actually we have characters now that can actually produce weapons, and in other words, like pull a gun or a knife, or they can actually produce a grenade and throw it. So we have a lot of interesting things that we're doing outside of the entertainment industry with animatronics. We're real excited about that with simulation. So these are some of the shopkeepers that we've done. These are a couple of them. The bottom picture there is actually interacting with some of the people on site there. So this is our current facility. As I say, it's about 60,000 square feet. We have scads of departments. I'll just run. I don't want this to be too much like an advertisement, but this is a kind of just a concept of how our company works. We do all kinds of creative design. We have a division for creative design where we take everything from blue sky all the way through artwork and production of documents and schematics and so forth. And we do writing and show, lighting, design, everything else. So everything starts, as all of you know, work in the theme park industry, everything starts as a nice rendering and something on paper. And then we actually, in many ways, take what's on paper and turn it into a three-dimensional product, which we use rapid prototyping for small maquettes, or we use, this is our 3D operation where we do a lot of characters from scratch on screen. We do model making, engineering, where we build and design all of the parts using SolidWorks, and all the structures are tested and analysis and everything else on paper prior to being built. We sculpt using a number of methods, including not just conventionally by hand, but we sculpt using a KUKA robot, which is a 7-axis machine that we can download files to and literally sculpt anything up to and including a 80-foot dinosaur or anything we need if we do it in chunks of smaller pieces of foam. So we can build anything, using that method. This is our sculpture department when it's really moving hot and heavy. We've got a lot of projects in there. A lot of characters we do the old conventional way, using clay and trying to recreate different likenesses and so forth. We do a lot of different types of heads and animals. We've done, hundreds of animals of all different sorts. A lot of architectural type sculpting and products and things. This is a CG dinosaur that was produced. Plastics and tooling production. We have scads of plastics. We have all kinds of production composites, silicones, urethanes, polyurethanes. We do vacuum forming and all those fun things. Just making parrots and clams and spraying composites. And we have making dinosaur skins for Countdown to Extinction in Florida. So we have dinosaur legs there. So all kinds of different plastic production and mold making and so forth. And then we get hundreds of parts built. We have a lot of mechanical production. This is a lot of the figure production that moves into all the mechanical fabrication aspect of it. Use a lot of high-tech products and a lot of high technology that keep up to date on all the new methods of motion controls and things. We're working on electric technology now, a lot of hydraulics and pneumatics. There's some internal function characters showing the internal workings of a dinosaur there. Some very large display pieces. So we have a fully functional shop. This is our outdoor piece of our work where we do a lot of big cranes and equipment for large pieces that we have to construct. So a lot of characters, very complex, and have to be very durable for theme park use for practically 24 hours a day. The casinos actually are the worst. They have us turn figures on, and because they never shut down, the figures never stop. So we've had figures run for 3 years straight without ever shutting them down. And this is where we build our armies of Chuckies. This is where we implant that secret microchip. And so character paint is a great place. We have AQMD rated paint booths where we do all kinds of paint with all kinds of talent. We simulate fur, and we paint things for being underwater, and amazing faux finishes and things of that nature. Here's a dinosaur we recently did for a project in India, and there he is finished with his proud painter. And we do, scads of work. We even make strange things like money burgers and giraffes. And we have a black light painting facility where we can do all kinds of black light painting if that's necessary. We were fortunate enough to have built 4 different Buzz Lightyear shows. The pieces of the figure, or the pieces inside the attraction that moved that you shoot at, the animated props. So this is the beautiful organ that we worked on in Mystic Manor, and some other animals here and fish. Now figure finishing gets into the production of hair products and things on figures, which is the wigs and hair and feathers and that type of thing. This is our figure finishing department and costuming. This is one of our Afghan children that's kind of squatting and then stands up and asks soldiers for candy. Some of them can, you never know when one of them may have a grenade too. So that's part of the simulation that we do. A lot of different heads get their hair and hair and eyes and teeth and that, and figure finishing. And then we do a lot of costuming. This is some costumes in the costume department. We have a whole slew of capable costume people that can do anything from wedding dresses to historical gowns and pieces, armors. We do all kinds of strange things. We get into some real serious hair work and hair punching and ventilated wigs and that type of thing. You recognize some of these characters, I think, as we're moving through here. We do things for museums. This is a horse we did recently for a museum that had a military museum. One of our donkeys with his pack on. A lot of things you see there on the donkey are not even real. The frying pan's rubber, and we have to make things light and safe and so forth. And this is kind of a samurai type armor that we did. A lot of faux finishes and woods and things, animated props and special effects. Everything has to be controlled and operated. We have a UL 508 shop that we can build control systems. This is one of our larger control systems for a figure. We do all the wiring and everything internally, and build all the computer control systems. And then when it's time to program, we actually set up and can program in the facility. We have a programming area that we can set up lighting and stage everything that's as it needs to be for special programming purposes and buy off. This is programming on site and some of the knots. So here we are, and it's been a big haunting circle, I guess you should say, because it started out with the first organ that I built back with some PVC pipe, and it's ended up recently with the big, giant, beautiful organ that we did for Mystic Manor, and it's about a 30-year spread in between those two. So I'm not sure what kind of organ that I'll be building, 10 years from now, but apparently every, 10, 20 years there's some sort of an organ in there. But this has been a great ride, and I love what we do, and I love what I do. I was fortunate. I use we a lot because it's not, it's a piece of it is me, but most of it is my incredible staff that there are a few of in the audience here today that help me build these things. And I have one of the most incredible, talented, creative staffs, I think, in the world. and to do this type of work. And I'm very proud of them, and I couldn't do without them. It's a love of mine, as you can see, and I think that you feel it from me that this was a love that I had from day one. It's unfortunate that I run into a lot of people in their lives, and they can be 50 or 60 years old and still not know what they want to do when they grow up. Well, I knew what I wanted to do when I grew up when I was 14, and I'm blessed to be able to have done that. And it's been a great ride. I hope it continues to be, because I'm loving doing it. I don't feel like I've ever worked a day in my life. I just want to produce and do great things for my great customers and clients, and the Disneys and the Universals and the Knots of the world. I just love what I do and just want to keep doing it. And I'm at 7 seconds, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations to Garner on your well-deserved award.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay.